Number 2. Let me start off by saying that I've never considered myself to be a superstitious person who believes in ghost stories. In fact, I'm the type of individual who desires evidence and facts over anything else. A see it to believe it kind of girl. What I'm about to tell you might seem made up or exaggerated, but believe me, if you can, it's not, even though I truly wish it was. I don't remember experiencing a paranormal event in my lifetime. That is until recently, which by the way did not take place all in one moment in one exact location. This creeps me out even more, and whatever I saw and heard will haunt me for a very long time. Now I live in a very safe, upper middle class neighborhood in Maryland. I never hear of any robberies, rapes, or murders happening in the specific area where I live, and I certainly have had no personal encounters. This makes me think that what I imagined I faced was in the category of ghostly phenomena. This story begins one early morning on the first week of May 2016. I remember feeling restless because of my out-of-whack sleeping schedule. I tend to stay up late and sleep during the day. I have been getting a sufficient amount of sleep. It's because my sleeping patterns have been flipped recently. Living on my own in Lancaster while attending college is partially to blame. But I'm back home for the summer and trying to fix that issue. So that is why on this night, I'm restless and agitated, tossing and turning in my bed, while my parents and sister are sleeping peacefully through the night. It's still dark, so I look at the time on my phone, and it's 5:30 a.m., and I'm wide awake. I decide that the best thing to do is to walk around for a little bit and read downstairs until I get drowsy. I tiptoe downstairs and try to be as stealthy as possible as to not disturb my family in their slumber. However, every step I take is creaking and squeaky, because our house is moderately old, but sturdy nonetheless. I make my way down to the first level and walk quietly through the main hallway to the back room. Half of the space is an open-style kitchen dining area, and the other half is a living room. In the middle, dividing these two sections, are glass doors with a trim leading to a small deck in the backyard. I turn on the lights nearest to the back doors and sit on one of the couches. I pick up a photo book my sister and I made, and I began flipping through each page one by one. After a minute passes by, I hear something strange, a tapping noise. I look out the window and check to see if it's raining or drizzling outside, and it's not. I listen more intently and try to pinpoint where the noise is coming from, and I notice it's close, very close. In one concentrated area, in fact. It sounds like it's coming from directly from the other side of the glass doors. There are door jambs on both sides, and the tapping noise appears to be coming from the vinyl siding next to the door. The steady tapping noises persist, and I peek out to see if it's an animal, but I see nothing. As I take a closer look, the noise stops abruptly. I can see everything in plain sight. There are no blind spots, and the light is on, so I'm confused as to what I heard, but I decided to shrug it off as me being paranoid. I sit back down, open up the photo book again, and a few seconds later, the noise starts up again, but this time, it's not on the vinyl, but instead on the glass door directly beside me. This time my adrenaline kicks in, and the sound sends shivers down my spine. My eyes steer my head in the direction of the noise. I turn around and face the door as the tapping only grows louder and closer to me. I see nothing there. It makes no sense, and I cannot fathom the moment in my mind. At this point, I'm freaking out, and I bolt down the hall, up the stairs, and into my room, quickly shutting the door behind me as I quiver in fear. I get back into bed and hesitantly peek out my window facing the backyard. The neighbor's backyard is directly across from us and bordered by a fence from our backyard. They have their beam lights on. It is so bright that some of the light is shining into our yard as well. My eyes are well adjusted to the darkness, and I can see if there's any suspicious activity going on. I'm hoping there is no person trying to break into our home. I peer around the yard and the neighbor's yard for a few minutes, and suddenly my eyes spot movement around the fence. The light helps significantly where I notice this happening. I blink several times for clarity and try to comprehend what I'm seeing. There is definitely movement taking place, however, I cannot piece together who or what it is exactly. I don't see movement of leaves or the weight of footsteps on the ground. This thing appears to be levitating, as if it weighs nothing at all. I think I'm losing my mind. I look away and back and keep seeing this creature. I cannot recognize it as anything normal. It's small, black, yet somewhat transparent, and it's moving in and out through the holes of the fence. I keep staring, and then it curves over the fence, back and forth and up and down, and moves into the yard to suddenly evaporate into thin air. I am not sleep deprived, and I know what I'm seeing, and I know that I am not hallucinating. I'm baffled and scared, but at the same time fascinated. My heart is pounding. I close the curtain and hide under the covers like a child. My eyes are wide open as the adrenaline is still pumping through my body. What just happened? I contemplate this event for hours until I drift off to sleep. I woke up around 4 p.m., and I'm a little hesitant to tell my family about my paranormal experience. I tell my sister that day, and she is intrigued, but skeptical at the same time. I knew she would be. A couple of days pass, and my parents, sister, and I are heading to New York City for a vacation. Since I told my sister about what happened, I thought I should also inform my mom and dad. I do, in minimal detail, and I receive a polite response, but I can tell they don't believe me, as if I was just being paranoid. Around 10 p.m., we arrive in New Jersey and stay at a hotel for the night before commuting another hour the next morning into New York City. My sister and I share a room in the Comfort Suites Hotel, and by this point, I convince myself that my bizarre ghost-like encounter is a one-time thing and that I should just move on. I take some NyQuil, turn off the lights, and get under the covers to try to fall asleep. After a couple of minutes, I notice myself dozing off, but not for long. I have anxiety and panic attacks every now and again, the kind where you feel like you're falling off a cliff or that the life is escaping from your body. Yeah, this happens every now and again, but it's nothing unusual. Well, this night was different. I'm falling asleep until suddenly my eyes are wide open as I gasp for air. In a state of panic. As I do, I see something. Towering over me, next to my bed, is a tall, semi-transparent figure, very similar to what I saw in the backyard the other night. I flinch backwards in fear. I blink a couple of times, and all of a sudden, it disappears right before my eyes. Is this thing trying to torment me? Following me? What the hell is going on? Knowing that my sister is only a few feet away brings me comfort and a sense of security. I sigh heavily and eventually fall asleep. I attempt to suppress thoughts of these events, which took place within a week's time frame, successfully during my stay in New York. I distract myself and have a good time. My family and I drive back the following week, and thoughts of the ghost creep back into my mind. Each night before I go to bed, I peek out of my window to satisfy my curiosity, but I've seen nothing since I arrived home. From now on, I hope I hear no cringe-invoking noises or awaken to a towering ghost beside my bed trying to haunt me in my sleep. Things are back to normal, for now. Number 1. So this happened last year in the winter of 2014. Side note, my mom and I recently moved to this new place in the previous winter of 2013. There's a lot of interpersonal details to this story that may have led up to or contributed to this event, but I'm not comfortable sharing these issues here. But this is the bare gist of what happened. Also, I would like to state that at the time I was going through a mild depression, commonly known as winter blues. This happens almost every year, so I generally don't think much of it. But the winter of 2014 was different. Everything felt like a heavy fog in my life, and I think I was unknowingly going through a deep depressive state. Anyway, it was late one night, and I didn't have school or work the next day, so I decided to stay up a little bit later than usual. I played some soft music and read a book until my eyes began to get heavy. After a glance at the clock, I decided it was time to go ahead and get into bed. This is where shit gets creepy. About 3 hours into a deep sleep, I awoke, only to fixate my eyes on what I can only describe as a fuzzy black ball rolling on the floor right by my bed. At first I thought I was dreaming, but I realized I was wide awake when the glare of the nightlight came into focus. I gathered myself and calmly sat up to get a better look at this black fuzzy ball rolling from my bed to my closet and back again for what was probably mere seconds, but it felt like an eternity. All of a sudden, the black ball stopped rolling and starts to morph. I clenched my sheets in my hands, anticipating what was about to happen. Right before my eyes, it quickly morphed into a black, willowy, thin, tall shadow creature. Saying that I was scared would be an understatement. I said in a loud voice, "What the fuck are you?" And just like that, it disappeared. Apparently my mom had been in the kitchen making coffee, and she walked into my room, saw me sitting up, and asked me who I was talking to. I told her what I saw, and she told me that she saw that same thing a couple of nights after we first moved in. Weird thing is, my mom wasn't suffering from any emotional distress like I was, and she saw it too. We both saw it at separate times, going through different emotional stages. But we never saw it again. I still get very creepy vibes just thinking about that thing, and I hope I never encounter it again. Hey guys, Unit 522 here, and I want to thank you very much for watching my video. I would appreciate it very much if you would share, like, and comment. And if you're new to this channel, become one with the Unity by hitting the subscribe button. If you have a scary story or experience that you want featured on this channel, you can always send it to my email or post it on the Free Horror Stories subreddit. The links for those can be found in the description below. If you would like to help out this channel even more, consider a PayPal donation. And for more updates, be sure to follow me on Twitter. There's nothing wrong with a little darkness in your life, as long as you never forget there's always a reason to be afraid.